welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton, and we are going to meet the new chairperson of the Neighborhood Commission today and talk about our vital neighborhoods within the city. My guest is Realtor Peggy Todd. Welcome, Peggy.
Thank you.
You have served with the Neighborhood Commission and been a volunteer and been really visible in a lot of things that we're doing in the city. You're giving of your time as a volunteer. Like, I get paid for this.
Right.
Why do you do it?
It's important to me. It's important to celebrate what Hampton has to offer, and a lot of times I don't think the good of Hampton gets out, and so I feel that I should. You know, I should be able to say, hey, this is what's going on in Hampton. And, you know, because of my profession, I have the avenue to go ahead and do that. So I enjoy it.
So professionally, you do the why people should buy in Hampton and what our great neighborhoods are. And then personally, you live in Hampton. You have a family here, and you support and have input in a lot of what's going on.
Right, right. My children are in public schools here in Hampton, and they've done well. My son is in college now. My daughter's a senior, and I've been involved volunteer-wise in their schools all the way up, and that's, I guess, how I started in my volunteer, is from the schools and then branched on from there. And it's just, it's important. You know, my family feels it's important too.
Yeah, it is important. Now, a lot of people don't really understand what the Neighborhood Commission does.
Right.
How would you describe it?
We are a link to the citizens to the city. We're sort of that middle person, but we help in 3 different areas. We help civically, we help neighborhood-wise, if community appearance, pride, you know, that sort of thing, and we help also with school partnerships. Those 3 things are very important to the city, to hold a city together, and our commission as a whole really tries to tie all of that in together and keep it alive.
I notice within the city when we're looking for input from citizens, we do that wide casting, you know, like come to the public meeting or fill this out online. But the other thing we do is ask the Neighborhood Commission.
Right.
Talk to people, see what they think about this. I mean, you guys vet a lot of ideas. They bubble up or they bubble down, and you kind of get the pulse of how our homeowners feel.
Well, we do it similar to how you do the wide net as a city. We have 10 districts in our city, and so with 10 commissioners, we'll go, you know, if the city comes to the commission and says, hey, you know, we have this going on. You know, we're thinking of doing this. What is the input from the city? So each of the 10 districts will go out and talk, you know, to their area and say, hey, if the city were to do this, or if the city were not to do this, what is your input on it? What's your opinion? You know, how do you feel? Do you have an opinion at all? And then also on the at-large representatives, we have faith-based, we have nonprofit, we have business, and we obviously have realtors. We go out to them. Hey, how do you think this is going to affect the city? And so we're getting more personal input. And it's when we go back to the city, we can give a reason why that input's been given from, you know, a certain district or a certain at-large commissioner.
And I think that's helpful because a lot of times the people who come out to the meetings are kind of the same people.
Right.
So you hear from the same handful of folks every single time. And online only reaches a certain percentage of our audience.
Right.
And it tends to be more in the middle-aged, middle-income sort of area. And you guys can touch people on a more personal basis who maybe wouldn't respond to the big call.
Right. It's a more personal touch, and that way, I think when a commissioner, especially a district commissioner, goes out into their neighborhood and says, hey, this is what the city is thinking. What's your opinion? They feel that their opinion at that point is valuable instead of just a large net, my vote doesn't count sort of thing.
Right.
You know, they really, they'll give more information and more of their opinion, more of their true opinion, instead of what is everybody else thinking.
And sometimes in a meeting, the people who speak up are the only ones who are heard, or people get followed along. And so having that discussion can be really meaningful.
Right, and I like to say that the commission is the voice of the city, of the citizens of the city.
So you guys have some programs. I want to talk about registered neighborhoods first, because you got a lot of complaints a few years ago that the city had a very onerous process to become a registered neighborhood. And a lot of people just gave up and didn't see the value. But you've revamped. It's awesome.
Yes, it is. It's very simple. It's a very, very simple application. And, you know, the neighborhood office or one of the commissioners will even help the applicant fill out the application. It's a free service, and it's really beneficial to not only if it's a registered neighborhood, but it can be a registered community group, faith-based organization, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, anybody can join.
And there's some really concrete benefits.
There are. Number one, if you hold meetings and you need a meeting place, the schools are opened up to you to have the meeting. It's opened up to you free, and the insurance is tied in because now you're a registered organization.
That helps. And also, your meetings or events, if they're open to the public, we can put them on the city's website because you're a registered neighborhood organization. So even if it's a community yard sale or a benefit or a meeting or discussion, we can post those and help you get more people.
And not only on the website, but social media as well. The neighborhood office tying in with the commission, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, and we're able to advertise there. And that's been very beneficial because a lot of people are on there in a lot of different ages.
You know, I see that in my neighborhood. People are on the Facebook, like I may not always go to the meetings, but the Face group is where things happen with very busy people, and you communicate and share, and it's been really wonderful.
Yeah, it's a great avenue for advertising. It's free, it's easy, and it's easy to get as well.
And I think it's helped build communities in a different way. Especially when you have two working parents and, you know, busy lives. People can communicate when they can, not when the meeting is being held in a certain place.
Exactly, and you can put links on there, so that'll link you back to the city or back to the organization's website. It's very easy to use. It's just another good source for us to get information out.
Okay, you have money.
Yes.
That you give out.
Yes, we have grant money, and we've given them to our area pools, our neighborhood pools. We've given them a small project, for example, would be a fall festival from a neighborhood. A bigger example could be, like I said, the pools, but also a whole area. Phoebus, for example, can have some of the grant money, and that's another easy application. We've simplified that application as well.
You guys have simplified the grant application, and on the city side, the city has just simplified the special events permit, so it's a whole lot easier. And some neighborhoods can hold formal events on city-owned property that's vacant, that isn't necessarily designated as a park. It's a lot easier now to fill out the permit, to get the permit, especially for those small group things that aren't going to be, more than 100 people, or if there's no live music, or if there's no alcohol sales, it's really a lot easier to get a permit now.
And that's actually a very good example of how the commission and the city work together. They came to us asking us, hey, this is what we want to do, what do you think? And that actually just all happened.
Yes,
and that
it
did. There was a great camaraderie between the city, the commission, and the neighborhoods to get something done in a way that's more viable to the city and to the citizens.
And that's wonderful too, because it used to be really, I know Old West, because I live near there, had some real troubles because they were trying to do these small festivals, but there was insurance requirements and police requirements and a lot of costs that weren't necessary for a very small event. So the city has really scaled that process to be commensurate with the size of the event.
Right, and again, the commission and the neighborhood office is always willing to help the applicant fill out the application.
Oh, that's good. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay. And then you also have a neighborhood recognition program.
Yep, we just started that back up last year. And we had, back in late winter, early spring, we had an awards program, the Neighborhood Awards. And we had 3 different awards that went out. We do a Neighborhood of the Year. We do basically a Volunteer of the Year, and then we do Project of the Year. And it was great success last year. They used to do it a long time ago, and we brought it back. And when we brought it back, we weren't sure how it was going to be.
Right. Because it probably died out for a reason.
Right. And are we getting the information out? And we had plenty of applicants, and we had a great turnout. So the applications went out. They filled it out. If they had trouble with the application, we helped them again. And then when we did the actual awards presentation, we did it at the Air and Space Center.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah, and it was a great event. It really was.
So keep that in mind. The applications go out that sort of November, December, January timeframe, and then the awards are in the spring. But think about people you might want to nominate, or telling the city what your neighborhood is doing to be the potential neighborhood of the year. Because a lot of times we don't know.
Exactly. Last year, our winners for the neighborhood was Willow Oaks. For Project of the Year, it was Riverdale Regional Civic Center, I always say that, or Civic Area, Civic Association, I always say that one wrong. They had a fall festival, and the way they had planned it, the project was wonderful, and so we wanted to award them with that.
And then when you do that too, you really showcase a project, and other neighborhoods can go, hey, we could do that.
Right, and that was the whole point of it. This is why, you know, Willow Oaks won. This is why Riverdale won. This is why Anthony Moser of Pasture Point won. You can be that person too. It's really easy, and now they have another point of contact to go to. They can call Willow Oaks or Anthony or Riverdale and say, hey, how did you do that?
That's great. And so you got involved through the schools and just sort of growing into the volunteer role. A lot of people come in because they're opposed to something. You know, something they see as threatening their neighborhood, development or blight or, you know, a change. And so they get in sort of as an activist against something, and then they stay in. They realize, hey, people listen to us. You know, I can have input. I can make a difference.
Exactly. And they... Actually, the advocates that come in, once you sit down with them and say, hey, this is why, you know, City of Hampton does this way, they go, oh, I get it now. And then they're able to tell others why something is done that way. Or if the advocate comes in and says, I feel that this is wrong, we need to do something different about it. Well, let me help you do that then. You know, let me show you the avenues of how we could do this the right way. So it does work.
It does work. And then you guys also maintain really tight communications with the other commissioners and the registered neighborhood organizations and push information out.
Yes, with the registered organizations, we have their email and or their telephone number, their mailing address, and that way if there's any sort of information, if we're in an emergency situation in the city of Hampton, we're able to get that information out to those leaders who then can disseminate to their areas. It's just, it really pulls the city together.
I think, you know, communications is the key. If people know what's going on and understand and speak up at the right time. So if they're not open in their email, they don't know that the opportunity, and sometimes then they're frustrated that they weren't involved.
Right. You know, and from experience, you know, people looking outside, looking in, going, hey, my city doesn't do that. I don't think people realize how much the city of Hampton does that no other city does.
We've done it for so long, like we take it for granted.
Right.
And if you've moved from somewhere else, you don't know to expect it. It's a different environment here, I think.
It is. And it's a good environment, and it's only getting better.
All right, and I want to close with that. I want you to make your pitch. You are selling a house in Hampton. Tell a prospective family why they should move to Hampton.
They should move to Hampton because of the opportunities here. We have so much water, so we have a lot of water activities, the beaches, we have so much activity involvement. The city pulls together festivals either as a whole or as a neighborhood, block party. There's so much to offer here in this city, and it is a wonderful place to live.
Okay. Thank you, Peggy. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
And thank you for watching. I hope that you will stay involved with your neighborhood association, or whatever affiliations you have, and stay connected through the Neighborhood Commission to what's going on in the city. Thanks for watching.